Hello, pioneers. Welcome to the Bridging Pinetwork Twitter Spaces. It's been a while that we had the Twitter Space, so I'm so excited to have, everyone trooping in and seeing some old faces as usual, as we usually see in the space. And then, IQ is in. Hi, IQ. Can you say hi so we hear you?
Hello, everyone.
Great. So it's good to be here again. It's been quite a few months since we, had a Twitter space, and it's kind of fitting that this Twitter space is being done with IQ because our first ever Twitter space began with IQ, and it is still in the same format of us trying to learn about something that we may not really understand very much, as should I say newbies, as people who are not well versed with the crypto space. So as it had been when we started the first Twitter space, it was about Pi and the Metaverse, and IQ was the one to come teach us about it. And basically, we ran a series of, including Metaverse, NFTs, KYC, Web3, DeFi, and blah blah blah. And our approach as Pi Revolution has always been to, um, approach a subject from the very fundamentals, so that the everyday people whom Pi Network wants to reach out to, wants to include in the crypto space, in the Web3 space, can also have an understanding. And so we really have a huge load of thanks to give to incredible pioneers like IQ, who has been um, giving up their time to come on the spaces and speak to a very massive amount of audience to teach them about these things. And should I note, and IQ is from Australia, and I know it's very, very late, maybe 12 midnight in Australia, but still, here he is to, teach us about bridges and how, how they can relate with Pi Network. So we say a big thank you, IQ, for that. And in case you don't know, this is Woody speaking. Woody ITM, the founder of Pi Revolution. I'm just an ordinary pioneer like you all, and I myself do not really know a lot of things. That's why I always try to call these people who I've seen to experience a great deal of knowledge on a particular subject to come teach me. And so instead of me learning alone in private, I feel it's much more wonderful when we all learn together about the subject, and it gives room for conversations, for questions, and we all learn more also from the interactions with the audience. So thank you all very much for coming in. We also look forward to hearing your own contributions and also questions, so that we can think more and learn more. Right. So IQ, if you want to say hi and introduce yourself more to the audience, this would be great.
Yeah, thanks, Woody. Welcome, everyone. We're going to have a good spaces today. We're going to talk about the Pi bridges. Bit of my background. I spent 10 years in the Air Force in my early days, and there I was a radio technician, and my last 2 years I started to work on computers. This is back in the 90s, so this is when computers were starting to come out. And when I left the Air Force, I pretty well was doing a lot of contracting and working for IBM and IBM clients. I started off in Australia, but then I moved around about 2000, and I started working around the world, lots of different countries, a lot of Asia, India, Saudi Arabia, Ireland, Netherlands, working for a lot of different industries, some banking and all that, government work. And that sort of led me on to the blockchain, and then, I joined the Pi network, I think about February 2020. and I've pretty well been mining every day ever since.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Sounds like a vast deal of experience behind you, and we appreciate that you're going to share things that you know and things from your experience with us today. So I just want to request everyone so that um, more people don't miss out and they are aware that we have started and they do not forget. Kindly, click on the share button or something. Kindly share the link to the spaces on your tweet it out so that people can see on their timelines that the Bridging Pi Network spaces have started and they can join in and make the conversations even richer. So we're going to start off the topic now, and anyone who wants to join the speaker list to give spontaneous interactions can just randomly send a request for the microphone now while we go on to IQ. So IQ, I would start off by engaging my own curiosities because I want to come from the point of knowing nothing at all, so that even the least knowledgeable person in the room um, can understand where we're coming from and where we're going. So now we're talking about bridging Pi network, right? This has to do with what we call bridges, right? So maybe if you can start by telling us what bridges are in the current blockchain crypto space without even mentioning Pi network. Just let us know what bridges are and how they've been working.
Yeah, sure. So at the basics, a bridge is just a way to provide interaction between two blockchains. So we've seen a lot of bridges, and especially with a lot of bridges at the moment, they seem to be getting a lot of publicity in the news for being hacked and all that, which they don't they do get hacked, but people don't tend to lose their funds. What tends to happen is that their mint functions get exploited. So new tokens get minted. So this is a bit of a problem in the smart contracts. But essentially, yeah, a bridge is just a way to bridge coins across two networks.
Okay, so another network gets connected to another network, and then there is some interchanging of coins, right? Of tokens.
Yeah, so basically, you can have tokens living on, like say Ethereum, or it can live on Solana at the same time. It's still the same networks, same coins. They're just using two different technologies.
Okay, so apart from coins living on both networks that are foreign to them, what other value does bridges offer to a network?
I guess the value is it's giving you access to other blockchains. So certain blockchains have certain features. Like say like Bitcoin. Is supposed to be a store of value. Then you got other ones that use different consensus mechanisms, and they give their own attributes. That they can do. Like providing smart contracts and things like that. So you're getting access to different attributes of different blockchains. So it's not just the access to the tokens; it's the technology.
Okay, so does that mean that when you say the technology, does that mean that also the apps that are on that blockchain?
Yes, yeah. It's like because one of the big things, like we can just take Bitcoin for example. It doesn't have smart contracts, right? So this is where Ethereum came in first, and by providing smart contract ability, then people were able to mint their own tokens, and start their own projects.
Okay. Sorry, I just want to confirm. I'm seeing some comments saying there's a sound problem. There's no sound. I just want someone from the audience to um, come on and testify to the sound. Ike, you can hear me very well, right?
Yeah, I got no problem at all.
So can anyone from the audience request for the microphone? Okay, Alva, approved. Yeah, Alva 1330, can you speak and tell us about? Oh, he has left. Oh, he's back. Can someone? from the audience, apart from IQ, tell us about the sound. Is the sound okay? Yeah, Alva, Pi Cameroon, Remy, can anyone speak up?
Hello, everybody. Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. And thank you, Pi Revolution, for having me on the Virgin Pi Network. It's really a privilege to be with Aiku. I've been seeing the work
Yeah.
that he's been putting in place. And I'm really sorry. I joined the space a little bit late, so I'm kind of lost of the conversation. And I would really like one of you guys to enlighten me.
Okay, can you just testify to the sound if the sound is good?
Oh,
Um,
no, the sound is good. I'm getting you loud and clear.
Yes, the
okay,
sound is good now. It's good now.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. I was seeing multiple comments about sound problems, so thanks for clarifying that.
Okay,
So
thank you.
basically, just so we haven't gone far, we just started. So just to recap, we have just done the definition of bridges, what bridges are, um, and then IQ is talking about what value bridges can offer to a network. So basically, bridges connect different networks together, so they can have they can have access to each other, and they can exchange and their native tokens can go live on the other foreign network without any problem. So bridges make that possible. And then I asked him about what other value do bridges offer to a network, and he also mentioned about interactions with the technologies that are found in that network, including the applications. So people from maybe the Binance ecosystem can go over to Ethereum ecosystem and interact with the applications there um, because of the bridge, right? I hope I did not summarize that wrong, IQ.
Perfect, mate. Perfect.
Okay, okay, now that's great. So I think having that foundation, I don't know if anyone from the audience wants to make any contribution to that before we move on to trying to bring it into Pi Network. Anyone from the audience, any contribution or any question?
We are good.
You just spoke for hundreds of people. We are good. Okay, 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 great. So now, bridging Pi Network now. Um, Okay, before we go to Pi Network, maybe could you just give us maybe like examples of some bridges out there that are not Pi Network related bridges, but bridges that have been able to connect to networks like Ethereum, Binance, or Polygon, or whichever are out there already?
Sure, there's many. I mean, one of the big ones is probably like USDC. They're available on many different networks. You can traverse your USDC through different blockchains and all that. For people who look at my videos, everyone knows that I always look at the Stellar network.
Yeah.
Because we're a fork of Stellar, and I consider them our cousin. And I've always been talking about how they're bringing on the forex market onto DeFi, right? And the way they're doing that is they're having all these bridges. I don't have a slide up at the moment, so I'm a bit rusty on what the names of those were. But you've got bridges over to Ethereum that Stellar's doing. That got bridges over to the Flare network. What was the other one? Pendulum is doing another one. So these are giving functionality, and in the case of Stellar too, you're bringing on the real world currencies, through stable coins and through use of bridges to access the DeFi market in all these other different blockchains.
So you said that Stellar is being able to bring on DeFi and um, with the forex market, right?
That's their goal, yes.
Okay, so because forex is based on fiat currencies, right? Not cryptocurrencies, right?
Yeah, that's right. And if you look on the Stellar network, they have all kinds of stable coins that represent those currencies.
So it means that okay. So I was going to ask that does it mean that bridges do not just work for connecting crypto networks, but also the foreign exchange markets?
In the case of Stellar,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
Okay, so
So
okay,
that's a functionality that Stellar provides that that no one else is providing.
that's interesting. And we hope to be able to bring that up into Pi Network, right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's it's one of those things of, is it going to come across? I mean, I've been saying that I'm expecting a bridge to Stellar to come alive, and we'll discuss it a bit later. But like TPG is saying that they're going to be bridging across. I'm not sure how they're going to be doing that at all. But and then you got the ISO 20022 bank messaging systems that's coming live in November. This is all heavily involved with Stellar and all that. So I think it's only inevitable that we'll have a bridge across the Stellar for sure.
Awesome. I see Pi Cameroon raising up your hands. You can unmute your mic and contribute or ask a question.
All right. Thank you, Fire Revolution and IQ. You talked about the forex market, which I really got interested in. Um, the topic and how it is built on the stellar consensus algorithm, and one thing I I think I can talk about is the forex market, because I've been in the forex financial market for quite some time now, and that is my domain. And I really appreciate the fact that you brought it up on here, because it's a way that is going to help a lot of people, and I believe that Pi that is being built on the stellar consensus algorithm, I believe if it goes open mainnet, traders like me and anyone on here that trades the forex market probably will be able to trade Pi also, like other currency pair, because from its white paper I believe they say Pi is the first digital currency, if I'm right. And I'm open minded, anybody can correct me. So if that's the case, I believe when Pi will go open mainnet, it will be listed also on trading platform, where a lot of people can also trade Pi like every other currency pair, because I personally I deal with currency pairs. I don't Yes, I also, my analysis goes on all pairs like commodity stocks, bonds, indices as well, but I focus on currency pairs. That is what I was just trying to share on here. And if that's the case, I believe it will be an amazing thing having any trader that can trade Pi also at the beginning stage during open mainnet. That's the contribution I had to say in all this. Thank you everybody for listening to me.
Yeah, there's a couple of things there. The first one is that because we're such a huge community, and what are we in, like 230 countries at the moment. Um, we're all pioneers that have been given a large amount of Pi just through mining on our phones, right? And we've all been given that for free, right? Now, once we get open mainnet, now we become liquidity providers, right? We're essentially being given brand new money that we'll be able to then take out and and do these things, buy other cryptocurrencies, trade in forex markets. The second part of that is it's not just forex, right? In my last video, I was showing that there was an older video that CFAN and Nicholas did, sort of leading up to talking about what applications and all that they wanted to do, and two of the things that was mentioned was fractionalized ownership of assets, right? And those assets being stocks and real estate, right? So you'll be able to have fractionalized ownership of these things. right? So it's not just Forex, you know, there's going to be, you know, company stocks and all that as well, you know. So
Yeah,
like I said, this is pretty well, we're providing liquidity for, well, a new source of liquidity for all of this.
and I believe it's a really amazing thing for a lot of people that don't know what Pi Network is bringing, because like the bridge that you say is gonna like it's gonna give a lot of opportunities to a lot of projects. And I think like Pi is like the internet when it started a few years ago, you know, because this is a game changer. And this bridge is sticky, it would take and unfold, like unlock a lot of different doors that if people know how to take advantages of it, you know, they can build massive institutions starting from nothing. I don't know if I'm really explaining myself that well, because like you said, if it opened the bridge to the bonds market, the stocks market, you know, and a lot of people already have, let's say, Picoin, a liquidity that already permits you, it's like a fund, it's like a starting capital for you to, you know, to get started and bootstrap whatever project that you have on an ecosystem that is already available at your hand. That if you can maximize out of it, I believe that at the long run, you know, you can build an amazing project over it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just DeFi either, you know. You know, if we have such a huge influx of liquidity, you know, each of us in our own communities can, you know, help out our fellow people that aren't yet on Pi Network, you know. So there's a lot of opportunity here.
Yeah, I believe I agree with you.
Okay. Thanks for that exchange. I'm not sure we're familiar with everything being said, but yeah, we learn it gradually, right? I get lost a bit. So, sorry, Pi Observatory is requesting. I think maybe may have a contribution. In a second. Um, so I'm trying to approve. I'm trying to approve Pi Observatory, but it's not working. IQ, can you see if you can try approving them? Okay, I guess it's from its end because I just approved somebody else. Anyway, so can we now, like, you know, bring the conversation over to Pi Network and you know, potential bridges for Pi Network, for potential implications, what it would mean, everything on and off. So let's start with you know, the bridges. I know there are some bridges out there, and you know, IQ has been a very meticulous follower of the bridges as they keep popping up. So you may want to walk us through some of the potential bridges that we're having waiting for Pi Network Open Mainnet.
Yeah, sure. And I'd just like to preface this to highlight, you know, that we are still in closed mainnet, you know, because this has been a bit of a hot topic. And being in an enclosed mainnet, you know, one of the rules is we're not allowed to exchange Pi for crypto, right? So even though one of our bridges is already live, right, I really don't recommend anybody use it, right, because you're going to be breaking the rules, right? Now, having said that, I haven't seen Pi Core team shut down that bridge yet, you know, which they could do any time. So I don't really know what's going on there. But to talk about bridges, you know, like in the past month, I mean, we this probably started off with Space Pi, you know, I think probably back in May or something, where they were claiming they were going to provide bridging services, and you know, I haven't really seen any real
Yeah, I had a
traction there.
phobia. I had a phobia for Space Pie at that time. I was seeing it everywhere, and,
I think
it
everyone did, you know, and to be honest, I mean, I think it's still okay, you know, but I mean, I think they just came out a bit too heavy-handed, you know, and you know that can happen with some of these projects. You know, they come out a bit hot, you know, and they try to contact and get into the bully their way into the community a bit, and it sort of puts people off a bit, But having a look at Space Pi, I mean, they've got a really nice website. They don't send me much different to all the other bridges. So it actually might be something, But I haven't really seen a lot of traction with any bridge yet. But in the last month, we've seen a multitude of bridges sort of come alive. That's just to list them. We've got pibridge.io, which is actually live now. They're they've probably been live for a month. Where you've actually got the bridge from Pi into Wrap Pi. You've got pibridge.org, which will be releasing their test version of their bridge this month. I actually thought that was the 15th, but I haven't really seen any update on that. But it'll be sometime this month. We've got a new one that just came out recently, Pi Connect. They just released their. Actually, I don't think the actual test bridge is released, but they've solicited people to join the testnet. They signed up 30,000 people already to be on that. So that's another new interesting one. With things got sort of things in the background like Tau Pi. We've got the TPG guys, who are the Trinity Project Group. They're doing the only bridge that I know of to Stellar XLM. So we've got a lot of these bridges out there, and we're still learning about who they are, what the developers are, and unfortunately we haven't got any feedback from the Pi core team. So we don't know whether these are authorized, whether they're third. I guess we're going on the fact that they're third-party applications.
It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting though that
pibridge.io that's got a wallet, Pi wallet that they're using, and they've already transferred coins. Well, they haven't been shut down at all, So I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, very suspicious, and the fact that they are upon their arrival, they are already gathering up 30,000, people in their community. It just raises an eyebrow, like what's going on.
Yeah, the communities are huge. Like pibridge.org, they've got 53,000 members in their Telegram. Pi Connect's got 77,000. I mean, we only just heard about Pi Connect a week ago or something. And then this is built on. They've been doing AMAs and stuff as well, so that's been building their communities because they're bringing non-pioneers. So that's essentially where, because they're releasing tokens and all that, so they've been promoting their token launches.
Yeah, and then we had a bit of squabble between the two Pi bridges of same names, pibridge.io and pibridge.org, and one was saying one was a scam.
Yeah, so pibridge.org's been very vocal on that, which is, quite ironic considering that it's pibridge.io is the only one that's actually produced a product.
Interesting. And then one of them is able to, when you open it on the Pi browser, they open with the Pi domain name system, Pi : / and then but the second one doesn't open with Pi : / it opens with HTTPS. So why the difference?
Yeah, I mean, well, pibridge.io is obviously under the developer program. That's how you get, if you register in the developer program, you can be hosted by the core team. So I think that's the difference there.
Okay. So I want to talk about the value propositions, because originally I know that when I started learning about these Pi bridges, the idea I was having of the whole situation was that the bridges are going to connect, and then pioneers will pass through the bridges and go to other ecosystems like Binance or whatever, and go there and then interact with their applications and somehow spend their Pi over there. I don't know, but my dominant idea then was that this would mean that pioneers are leaving the Pi network to other networks to engage with already established networks that were there before Pi. But I think now I'm beginning to question why that focus. Why not also consider the other aspect of, the other people, maybe the network that the bridge is connecting us to, they coming over to Pi network to seek value, intrinsic value in Pi network, and then this now boils down to what Sifan said in a video, right? Where they're trying to build intrinsic value so that even at open mainnet, people are looking inward to Pi network to obtain value and to engage with valuable apps that are there, and not just people trying to see how to go through the bridges to other networks and just to interact with what was already there. So how do you compare these two angles of us leaving or us staying and them coming in?
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, on the one hand, we're providing liquidity across to other networks, and on their side, let's say they weren't really interested in Pi to start with, but they saw the 35 million people and went, "Oh, we should tap into this market." So there's an interesting way of which way it goes. Now, the fact that we're getting bridges and like there was a whole pile of bridges all come out all at the same time leads me to believe that these are purposely coming into our ecosystem to enable open mainnet, right? And we don't know when we're going to be getting that. But when we also look at the partnerships behind the bridges, of what they're connecting to, we see all these lifestyle apps as well, right? So they're connecting things that we don't, like applications we don't have on the Pi network, so with all these lifestyle apps, there's all these rewards and all this sort of thing for living different lifestyles, and that that could be one of the reasons that they're bridging across as well. So it's not just providing DeFi and access to other cryptocurrencies, but it's actually providing access to all these lifestyle apps that are already being built. Not sure if I've got Woody there at all.
Oh, sorry. I was speaking and I
there.
forgot that my microphone was on mute. Right. So, yeah, before I repeat what I just said, I just want to, I brought TC up as co-host, Tochi and IQ. I'm suspecting that I cannot see the request or the request to speak. So I wanted you guys to also check from your end if you can see more requests to speak, because maybe the tech, Twitter is having some sort of glitch on my phone over here.
Okay, that's fine.
Right. Okay. So I was asking that would it be is it a good thing or a bad thing? Would you say that pioneers upon open mainnet are flocking out of Pi network in mass to go to cross through the bridge and go look for value or something in other networks?
It's something I haven't thought of, but it's definitely a concern, isn't it? Because the whole idea of the Pi ecosystem was we're building our own applications and all that type of thing, but we do know that we're going to have to bridge into other things. I'm trying to think on the way of like limitations, so like I said before, with Bitcoin there was a limitation of no smart contracts, so therefore having a connection to other blockchains provides something good like that. We know that Stellar's going to be getting smart contracts. Well, it must be pretty soon. Like I would expect maybe next month or even the month after, sometime this year anyway, with their upgrade. So we assume that smart contracts will be coming to Pi network as well. So Yeah, I mean, when we connect to other blockchains initially, obviously people are going to be looking to realize the value that the Pi network coins will be providing. Now, we haven't seen any connections to any exchanges, right? And we don't know of any yet. So at the moment, all these bridges seem to be doing a wrapped version of Pi, right? So that seems to be their goal at the moment, is to provide liquidity through wrap Pi. So that's quite interesting in itself. And the fact that they're all doing the same thing together is I wouldn't say suspicious, but it certainly seems like they're all on the same page. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Before I ask, because I really want to understand it like in a very fundamental way, like what it means. Like maybe when an already established company or organization, wanting to connect to the resource that Pi Network has, the community and tech and all that. So how do they come in? Do they just go apply for the Mainnet SDK directly, or do they do they come through a bridge? So all these technical fundamentals.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing that I've heard, without revealing any sources, that the wallets, like, we were supposed, that was when they applied for the mainnet SDK and all that. One of the things they were applying for was a business wallet. Now, I'm not even sure if there's been any business wallets released. So do the bridges, like, for the case of PiBridge.io, where we know that they're actually using a wallet on the Pi blockchain, that must be a personalized wallet. Also, too, you're kind of creating a whale here as well, because if, for instance, they're the only ones that can bridge at the moment. And if people start using that bridge in open mainnet and, transferring out, well, that Pi just gets locked up in that wallet. It doesn't, so you sort of consolidating a very large amount of Pi into one wallet. So there's that issue as well.
Okay, so I saw Pi Cameron raising up his hand. I think he had a contribution or question.
Yeah, I had a quick question for Mr. IQ. I wanted to ask a little bit about what do you think about Pi Network trying to, like, how can I say, which I can put it, Pi Network trying to do what, first of all, during the interview with Dr. Nicholas, and the recent interview, he said it's like Pi is falling at a very nice time at the bear market of the year, because the market has been very bearish the whole of this year. And my question to you was like, Pi is literally doing what Bitcoin was not able to accomplish to a lot of people. Now it's coming with an I with individuals that have identified, given their identity to be known. That is Dr. Nicholas and Ching. They are fine. And also, what do you think about the fact that the 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 crypto space, that where a lot of people took it like something that could do on anonymous transactions, and Pi is coming in another way? Because, like I said, Bitcoin gave a way for people to know that cryptocurrency is an amazing thing, but now a lot of people and a lot of companies cannot adopt it because of the fact that a lot of people like to stay unknown. But now Pi is coming with like the KYC solution. I don't know if that is a breach in the cryptocurrency world that is going to that is going to revolutionize the crypto industry as a whole. And a lot of people and a lot of companies, maybe countries, who instead want to adopt Pi network, the other than other crypto, other than other currencies. Because when you check the Pi white paper, I believe they say Pi is the first digital currency, if I'm not mistaken. So I believe that's what I wanted to you to enlighten me a little bit about it, if that's not much to ask, Mr. IQ. Thank you.
Yeah, I can add to that. I mean, yeah, when Bitcoin was released, this is obviously one of the great things, of blockchain. I mean, it's everyone could be anonymous to start with, but then again, you've got the transparency of blockchain as well. So if someone knows your wallet address, they can look at all your transactions. But I think we know in this world that having anonymity on the blockchain is never really going to be a thing. So with Pi, I've always, I've been, and I've got no evidence of this really at all, except the fact that I think Pi is going to be the new world currency, right? Just purely
Exactly.
because, because
Exactly
I mean,
because
you
of
only
the
have to look
fact.
at it. I always describe it as kind of like the opposite of Bitcoin, because you've got all
Definitely.
these things from the World Economic Forum and the UN and all that. It's all about sustainability and green technologies and all that. And if you look at Pi, it's the perfect one. It's freely available to everyone in the world. You only need a mobile phone. There's no limit to signing up. Even now, you don't even need a referral code. So
Yeah.
anybody can sign up, and uses minimal energy in mining it. And I've also said that I believe this will be a universal basic income as well, right? Because you can see through the change in the mining rates and all that. So these are the things that I think are coming. Now this is just my own personal opinion.
Yeah, and it's a wave. It's a wave that's about to hit the world, because these changes,
Absolutely.
yeah, these changes is gonna be fabulous. And I don't know about other people, and I'm very delighted of sharing this conversation with you as a person, because I believe you're more educated more educated when it comes to the Web3 and other likes NFTs. I see you doing a great job in it, and I just want to tell you, I salute you for that. I respect your work, every single thing you do. And like we were saying, the bridges that Pi Network is gonna break a whole lot of bridges, and giving changes to a lot of people that never wanted to adopt cryptocurrency because of the anonymity of Pi is coming, giving the credential, and everybody will know who is transaction, like who is dealing with a certain transaction, because you've been KYC, and when you're KYC, I believe your identity is out there on the Pi blockchain. And also, we don't have that automatically generated wallet system, where if you copy a one wallet today, it auto generates on another wallet. It's like we just have one wallet that we distribute, and I believe that's like an identity when you put it online, and it exposes you. And unlike other cryptocurrencies that it auto generates once you copied one wallet. So that's it.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things with the KYC on Pi as well, is that we're trying to make sure that there's one wallet for one person, right? And that's a great thing. You've also got uh, with all these things that I talk about with the Pi and sort of revelations. I think it's going towards. All I'm doing is looking at the World Economic Forum and the United Nations and the World Bank and all these type of organisations, because they tell you all these things. They're all released in their papers and their partnerships, and ISO 20022. All these cryptos all belong to the same member organisations, and so none of this information is hidden. It's just a matter of looking for it, and then you can make the comparison. You can see the direction of everything.
Yeah, and that's right. That's right. Thank you very much, Power Revolution, for giving me the space. I give you the mic, bro.
Yeah, that was a very, very enlightening exchange. Thanks for that. But I still have some foggy areas, in my understanding IQ, and I would usually keep on asking until I get it clear. So now let's pick for an example a project maybe like OpenSea or another existing product on another network, and they want to now connect to Pi through the Pi bridge, right? So I don't understand the technical, what happens behind the scenes technically, but how does it play out? Is it that the project and all its users would have to maybe have to go through the Pi browser to then access the product like OpenSea. Like, so maybe OpenSea is already existing, right? And they have customers. And so if after the bridging, how would the interaction play out? How would the interaction play out for pioneers, and how would the interaction play out for those who are already users of OpenSea? I just want the simple basics to be clear for me, please.
Yeah, this is a good question because there's two things here. There's the NFT aspect and there's the cryptocurrency aspect. If you access OpenSea through the Pi browser, then if they have coded this into their application, they now have access to everybody's wallets. This is the only way that we can actually use our wallets is through the browser. Now, also to go with this, with NFTs, because the NFTs, I'm actually not really up with OpenSea, so I don't know what blockchains they mint their tokens on. But the NFTs exist on a certain blockchain. Now, there's I think
it's Ethereum.
It is Ethereum. Okay, right. So you've got NFTs that exist on Ethereum, right? Now, how do those NFTs traverse to different blockchains, right? There's, you obviously need bridges and all this sort of thing for the connectivity, but in the case of like games and stuff like that, where you can buy, say NFT collectibles or like virtual clothing and stuff like this that are in the form of NFTs, right? Well, you don't want to have to buy those things every time you go to a different blockchain, right? And this is where we come into a thing called a universal content numbering scheme, right? And essentially what this is it provides a standard numbering system that gives an allocation number to your NFT, and then that NFT can then now be used on a different blockchain because it has a unique identifier, right? So when we come back into the Pi blockchain, if you've got NFTs on OpenSea, right, then those NFTs will be able to be used in the Pi ecosystem applications, right? Say we've got games in Pi, or whatever, and and you don't have to rebuy these things; they're just a one-off purchase, but they become universal.
Yeah. Okay. So
do we want to mention the fact that StartX owns part of OpenSea as well?
Yeah.
That was information you gave to me. I found that really interesting.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting because
just a bit before you go on. So many people are experiencing audio issues. Their network is going off and on, so they're asking. They think it's the space itself, but I can hear clearly. I was experiencing this earlier. I had to update my Twitter app. So if you can just tag it to the space, they could try it, update their Twitter app. If maybe they can switch off their phone and back on, then rejoin the space. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, everything's clear for me.
How do I even update that? Hold on, let me see. It's been a while. I hosted the space, and then I'm seeing some new features. Okay, I'll just do that. Update your Twitter app to solve your sound issues. Okay, that should do it. I just added it as a thread under the tweet. Right? Okay, because I'm touching. Are you seeing more requests to speak? Because when I minimize the screen for the spaces, I am seeing about I'm seeing some requests to speak. But when I click on the button to see, but I'm not seeing any requests. I don't know if you see requests on your end.
I'm having that same issue. I'll keep trying though.
Okay, so Pi Cameroon wanted to is putting his hand up. Wants to speak.
Yes.
While I try to remember what I was going to say before Touch interrupted.
Thank you, Harry Revolution. Yeah. Okay, I was just trying to, like, I don't know, add on what IQ was saying. If I'm not mistaken, he's free to correct me. I believe, like, what you Pi Revolution was saying, like, how can big platforms like OpenSea get to maybe interact with the Pi network blockchain. Uh, from my own, like, my opinion is, like, that's what the purpose of a Pi browser. If they want to get in contact or in communication with maybe the 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 Pi blockchain, and the Pi browser is there, or consumers or pioneers want to get in contact with companies like OpenSea. When you go on Pi browser and you hit on OpenSea, or when it will go open mainnet, where people will be able, to use the Pi coins to access other big enterprises like OpenSea, Variable.com, all these big platforms that list NFTs. When they connect, that's the reason why we have Pi browser with the Pi wallet and other application in it. Let's say you want to buy, like, an interact with OpenSea to get maybe an NFT from a creator. And once you want to buy that, when you hit it, maybe you will need to, unlock your Pi wallet with your Pi phrase, or facial identity, or fingerprint, or one or two things. I think that's what also Dr. Nicholas said from his previous interview, and I believe that's one of the big one of what that I believe that the core team saw that coming. That's why they had to put Pi browser. Like, Pi browser is like it's Pi browser, for my opinion, is Web3. It gives access to a lot of companies that will be willing to work with Pi to come onto their browser, and if they be able to list their app there like the other browsers, for them to just click on it and interact with the blockchain. I believe that that would be way easier. But other than that, we'll probably be able to just go to their website directly if we want to buy. Ethereum has its own blockchain, and Pi will have its own blockchain, and most of these Web3 apps and companies now, they are most of them are on the Ethereum blockchain, and I think they have one thing in common, which is the Stellar Consensus Protocol, Mr. IQ, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how they'll get to interact that with all of them to make things way easier for the Pi community, or make them work together. So that is my own contribution about about what the Pi Revolution was asking. I don't know if it helped in any way or the other. Thank everybody for listening.
Yeah, kind of. I think it will gives me another question of how uh, after the bridging at Open Mainnet now, for example, um, would the would would people have to how do I even express this question? The whole thing about going through Pi browser to access, Pi apps, right? So now those projects like maybe OpenSea or maybe Amazon or something that has been there before, Pi browser being built for Pi apps. Is it a must that you must access those platforms using Pi browser during open mainnet, or you can um, interact with those projects through another browser, but having your Pi coin also on that browser. This is what it means, right?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that Pi browser is bringing is the access to the wallets. So, as far as like OpenSea or Amazon or whatever, they have to code in the Pi network APIs that communicate, to call transactions and payments. Also, we know that, I mean, we don't have this functionality quite yet that I've read, but obviously we can do NFTs as well, like Stellar can do NFTs on their blockchain. So, they have to do these API calls to mint tokens as well on the Pi network.
Hello, sorry, a call came in and the sound. Can you hear me, IQ?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't get what you said last, but because a call came in and the sound went off. But let me bring in Pi Observatory. He's been raising up his hand.
Okay, good day, everybody. Thank you, Fire Revolution, for this opportunity. I believe we need more of this to, enlighten and educate the people on what's happening and what's about to happen. It's been very educative for me. I have learned a lot, although I can't claim to understand technical aspects, but I think I get the full gist of it. And this is something that really excites me because I have been looking forward to how this is going to play out in the next few years. If we all understand what's happening, we are all at the beginning of something really huge. The blockchain technology is about to completely transform, the world as we know it. And it's when we really look at it, we're focusing at the moment. I'm not talking about this conversation, but generally across the world, we're focusing at the moment on cryptocurrency. And the truth of the matter is that cryptocurrency is just one aspect of the blockchain. There are so many other aspects that the blockchain is going to change, the world, how we do things, how we understand certain things. It's going to do to us what the internet did when it came out. It's going to completely change how we do business, how we function. I mean, crypto is just like email on the internet. The internet is the blockchain. Crypto is like email. It's just one of the future. It's just one of the things you can do on blockchain. It will transform the way governments run. It will transform the health sector, education. We're already seeing with the introduction of DeFi, decentralized finance, people can now take full control of, how they manage their money and all of that. It's going to change our lives completely. And what we're about to notice that would happen in the next few years, there's something called infrastructure inversion. That's where a new innovation comes in, and then it gives birth to so many other things that would spring up around it. I'll give you a few examples. When the car was made, when the car was invented, there was no road. They didn't have roads around, but because of the new invention, they had to lay an infrastructure for the car to run on. And then when the car started running on the road, other things joined, the pram, the skateboard, the bicycle, all sorts of other devices that had legs that normally would not have run on muddy roads or cobble roads, started coming out. They were invented simply because a new innovation came out that needed an infrastructure. Now, the new infrastructure could carry the old one. Another very good example that we might all relate with is when we moved from analog to digital connectivity. Before, if you had to connect to the internet, you had to use, your analog that had the circular dial, you had the handshake protocol, and all of that. It took forever for you to connect, and when you're connected, you can't make phone calls. It was one or the other. Internet was on voice, was on the call, but now you have voice on the internet. It's the other way around, and there are so many other inventions that came out because of that. I believe the blockchain is about to do this, the same thing or something very similar. We're just at the very beginning. I mean, our blockchains really are not talking to each other. Just try and imagine in the future where all the blockchains can interact with each other, where we have advanced to a point where some of the bottlenecks we have now, you know, they've been cleared, and all the young people growing up that are excited about it would have come up with one or two inventions that would improve how it basically works. I mean, every day I think about it, I'm very happy to be opportune, you know, to be alive at this time and to be a part of a project as robust, as well thought through as the Pi Network project. And I believe that is why we need more of this. We need people to come out and speak. We need platforms to share ideas, you know, pass information, educate people, make them understand, you know, for real what's happening and what's about to happen in the future. So we take a few things seriously. A lot of people still have the mindset of what's happening before. Perfect example, when the USB as a technology came out, I don't need to tell you what it transformed in the computing industry. If you remember the old computer before, the back, you had the COM2, you have the PS2 port, you had the mouse port, you had all sorts of ports. But at the back of a computer now, all you need is probably 5, 6 USB ports, and that's it. And it gave birth to so many other things. Storage device, it gave birth, it transformed how we use our computers. And the changes we're about to see, some of them are not, how do I put this now? Some of them would not be what we are used to. They won't go with convention. They would be completely, they will turn our understanding upside down and they will present it to us like, here, have it. And you have to deal with it. You just have to take it that way and you have to go with it because it's happening. It's happening already. You have to accept it's happening. And we all have to be ready. We all have to play our part. And we all have to have an open mind and learn and pass the knowledge on. So thank you everyone that has made this happen. I'm still here, I'm listening, I'm learning. Trust me, I have a pen and a pad here. If I have a question, I'll ask. I yield my mic. Thanks.
Yo, thanks, Power Observatory, for that really great points that you were just bringing out. I really love that you referenced the VoIP, Voice over Internet Protocol. You know, I mean, we can just, you know, maybe do some sort of research back into, you know, the when it came and then the subsequent effects and now how it's similar to what's going to happen now, because you know, voice over internet protocol, when it came, it was it had good prospect, right? It was amazing, be able to transfer, you know, voice data over the internet very, very without, you know, without much dependency on how the traditional telecom network was working. And then, but when it came, it had the problem of scalability, right? So it wasn't scalable. It didn't have the tech to scale. So that's actually kept it, that kept it restricted in a way that Bitcoin is restricted now, right? And in a few years' time, during the early 2000s, I think, was it 2003 or something, and then when the tech to achieve scalability for VoIP came, everything changed, right? The telecoms that couldn't adapt, they were all subverted, and voice over internet became the new thing. So in the same way, we have now money over internet protocol, MOIP, right? And it has been looking for a way to achieve scalability for over a decade now, since Bitcoin till now, and Pi is making that possible, right? By the time the technology, just like you said, the infrastructure that can help money over internet protocol to scale, then everything is over. I mean, it just scale where the internet now has its native money that actually functions as a currency that's quite distributed, and people are using it, and you know, everything is just going to change. The infrastructure that supports everything will change, and that's just how it is. So thanks for really referencing those important things as you said. But before I forget, I want to go back to the question related to the Pi bridges. So IQ, I was trying to make some specific examples so that we all understand the nitty gritties of how it would work as related to the Pi bridges, right? So let's say, for example, now I'm to Pi network directly or through a bridge. Let's start from there.
You have to repeat it, mate, because you had your mic muted.
So I want to start gradually and let's like use Amazon as a reference. Would Amazon be, connecting to Pi network, maybe like directly maybe through an SDK, or would it be connecting through a bridge? Is it a bridge that would make the connection possible, or it can connect without a bridge?
Now, in the case of Amazon, they would just use the APIs, and you would access Amazon through the Pi browser, because it's just essentially a web page for payments. So you need access to the wallet.
Okay.
We've even seen Nicholas say in that earlier video, that they would have a pay by Pi button, right? And he even specifically referenced Amazon in that video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you would have a pay with like just any other. So you've seen other websites where you can pay with Ethereum, or you can pay by credit card or by fiat money. You just have a pay with Pi button, and essentially we believe in the end it will probably all be with pay by Pi buttons.
Okay, now, so this pay by Pi button, it would connect with your Pi wallet, right?
Yeah, I think like if you look at the browser now, up the top right hand corner, you've got the Pi symbol there. And that essentially all that's doing is returning us to the home page, right? But I think that's going to morph into being more like, like you see with MetaMask and some other wallet extensions in the browsers. Where
sorry, IQ.
Button where you click on it and you get a wallet drop down.
Hello, IQ. Sorry, could you just rewind it to just a few words back?
Yeah, so I'm just saying with the Pi button in the Pi browser, right now it's a home button, right? But essentially, though, I think that'll morph into being more like a MetaMask button, for the browser extensions, where you click on it and you get the wallet as a drop down.
Okay, so now, in the case of open mainnet, where Pi can now exist on other wallets, right? That's what it means, right? Pi will be able to exist on other wallets, right?
It just means it has a connection to other blockchains.
Yeah, but like you said earlier, the Pi token itself can go and live on another blockchain, on another wallet, right?
Yeah, but if you're looking at the case of open mainnet being connection into other applications like Amazon and stuff, well, they can do that now, right? They don't require any bridges. They just need to use the API calls.
Yeah, I'm trying to get at something. So when you want to pay by Pi on Amazon, Amazon will connect to the Pi wallet, which is in the Pi browser. So for those who, by virtue of open mainnet, they do not create a Pi account to get Pi natively. Instead, they just maybe swap their other cryptocurrency for Pi, and then they have Pi in their foreign wallet, not the Pi wallet. So would these ones be able to pay by Pi by having Pi in their foreign wallet and not the Pi wallet, since the Amazon pay by Pi button would be connecting to the Pi API and not some other foreign wallet infrastructure?
Yeah, it's interesting. If that comes to pass, where your Trust wallet or whatever can be capable of holding Pi assets, then yes, or if you're using Ledger or something like that. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. Now, the other side of this with bridges is that they're taking Pi and they're converting it into another token, well, sorry, Pi is a coin, so they're now making that coin into a token representation on another blockchain. So in that case, you'll be spending wrap Pi on another blockchain.
Okay. Now, I know we've seen a lot of partnership announcements that different bridges have been making, right? You even covered that in your video as well on YouTube. Speaking of which, guys, you should follow IQ and subscribe to his YouTube. He does lots of really deep content analysis regarding regarding stuff like this, and he has done one or two videos, I think, on bridges, and all these things are there. I think he will be doing more as well. So
yeah, my last one is very concise. There's a lot of Pi bridge information going on there.
Right, and you also talked about, you showed us different partnerships that have been done with different Pi bridges, like for example, Kala Network, right?
Yeah.
Kala Network has partnered with one of the bridges. I don't know which one. Now,
PiBridge.org. Yeah.
Okay, PiBridge.org. Now, let's start from somewhere. Can Kala Network connect to Pi without the bridge, or is that bridge a necessity for it to be able to connect to Pi? Why can't it just connect to the Pi API like Amazon would do?
It definitely can. Yeah, it could definitely do that, but I don't think that would be in their model because Kala's using their own Binance Smart Chain token, right? So the only reason they would do that is if they actually want to use Pi currency. So this is the conundrum we have. We don't know whether they want us to spend Pi on Kala or whether they want us to bridge Pi into a wrap Pi to then use in other applications.
This sounds like some competitions of some way that will be coming up in the future.
I don't know the answer here. It's I mean, essentially, I think. Well, also too, I guess we could go down the path of how many cryptocurrencies are going to survive. I mean, there's always people talking about 95% of cryptocurrencies will be gone. Which I think is quite possible. So the Kala network having their own token, because it only takes some legislation to pass, whether it's regards to being a security, or you're not allowed to have your own tokens or something like that,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden all these cryptos, they just disappear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
so you could just end up left with Pi and Stellar and a few of these big players.
Okay, so what I'm deducing from what you just said is that if your projects, if your when I say project, I'm referring to like maybe organizations like Kala Network, like Amazon, like OpenSea, like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, just some product, right? So if your product is not already built on a foreign network, a foreign blockchain network, right, then you would just go ahead and connect to the Pi API. But if your project is already built on a blockchain network, then you would not be going to the Pi API. Instead, you will be coming through a bridge. Is that what these two things mean?
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't want to use the Pi cryptocurrency, right, but you want to tap into the the 35 million pioneers, right, then that's where the bridges come in, right, because they provide the accessibility and that liquidity of Pi into their ecosystem.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
and this also too. I mean, we might just start like this, right? We might just start with these bridges to get access across and provide liquidity, right? But in the end game, perhaps these bridges won't be necessary, right? And it'll be only Pi that remains.
Right. Because I'm saying because as a business person, why would I be foregoing the opportunity of earning Pi? Instead, I am focusing on earning a wrapped token representative of Pi. of which, it doesn't mean that everyone in Pi network, 35 million engaged pioneers, would actually go and wrap their Pi for foreign currencies. Many pioneers may not do that. So if I'm choosing to go through a bridge and get a wrapped token representative of Pi, it means that I will be losing out on the vast majority of customers that Pi has intrinsically in its ecosystem.
Yeah, ideally we all want to just spend our Pi, and also too, there's a technical limitation here too. I mean, I understand this stuff coming from a technical background, but majority of pioneers don't understand about wrapping Pi and converting Pi and keeping up with things like, I've had plenty of my people that contact me all the time because they haven't kept up with a project, and they've swapped, that token's been swapped, and now they've missed the end date, and now all those tokens they had are completely worthless. So there's a huge technical limitation here by doing the wrap Pi. Right? So I honestly think that this is probably just an interim way that Pi can, like the Pi community can connect into other projects and all that. But in the end game, if Pi is going to be the world currency, then you're only going to be spending Pi.
Right. So that was a really interesting point. I now understand this thing from a much more broader perspective. Personally, let me ask you: are you anticipating the prospect of you wrapping your Pi up, for some other token to connect to other ecosystems? You personally?
Possibly. I mean, if we're in open mainnet and this is the only way I can, because essentially we're limited with Pi at the moment. I mean, I only have to look at things like, with my Metaverse projects and all that. Right now,
Yeah.
I would love to be able to just hire staff and pay people in Pi and all that, but people can't pay their bills with that. It doesn't have that utility yet. So with these bridges, it's bringing that utility. Now, there's also a value proposition here too of like, well, I'm not going to be spending, and I haven't spent any of my Pi yet because, I haven't found anything that gives me the value for what I value my Pi at. So there's two aspects. Is this something that's going to be like, do I want to invest in some other crypto projects with my Pi liquidity? Am I getting a good value for that when I swap it over on the bridges into the wrapped tokens? Once I have those informations, then obviously I want to use my Pi.
Awesome. We have Pi Observatory raising up his hand.
Oh yeah, it's more like a question and an observation for IQ. I think I'm beginning to understand. I'm beginning to understand all of this. So let me give an example. It's more like a question. So let's say there's a new DeFi project that has come up, and it's on Pi, but it's on a different blockchain. So if you mine some Pi and you have it in your wallet and you want to participate, you need to find a way to transfer the Pi you want to use to this blockchain.
Sorry, Pi Observatory, your voice is kind of a bit covered. It sounds covered, not as clear as it was when you spoke the previous time.
All right, give me a moment, please. Okay, how about now? Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, so I said what I'm saying is more like an observation, but it's also a question. So let's say there's a new DeFi project, and the currency used for the DeFi project is Pi, but it's on a different blockchain. So let's say I want to participate, and I want to use, let's say, 5 Pis to participate. I find a way to transfer it to that blockchain, and then when it gets to that blockchain, the equivalent of the pie I send is converted into a wrapped pie. That's where the question is. So it's like a version of pie on that blockchain that I can use to perform functions that would have the same value as the pie I have in my wallet. So it gives me that option to partake in different, innovations that come up, maybe for DeFi, for NFT, or whatever it is that comes up in the future. That's my question.
Yeah, so there's two things here. There's two ways we can bridge, right? We can either have a representation of pi onto another blockchain in the form of a wrap pi, right? Or we can actually have pi that is available on that blockchain as well, right? So like I'll give you an example is like USDC, right? USDC is still USDC on many other blockchains. It's not a wrapped version, right? So I guess we're boiling down to what the functionality is that we can have access to. So we might be able to invest. Well, currently with these bridges, they're doing only wrap pi, right? So in that case, yes, it's only wrap pi that you'll be able to invest with. But maybe later on, Pi Network releases another bridge, right, where Pi tokens can be represented on, the Pi network or maybe the Stellar network or something like that, right? And in that case, you don't need to convert any tokens, any coins. It's still a Pi coin.
I was just curious. I don't know if this question is suitable. It may be like a traditional crypto question, but when you wrap your pie to go on to another blockchain, and then the value of pi increases, does the value of that wrapped token also increase along with the value of pi?
At the moment, what I've seen is it's pegged 1-to-1. So it's basically when you convert one pi over to one wrap pi, you're getting 1-to-1, and the same when you transfer back. Right now, there are some things where we've seen, in the DeFi space, like say in farming and that, where you're not just staking your pi for say, you're staking pi in another currency to provide liquidity for the AMMs, and in that case you get a third token back. Right now, if those values change, right, then when you convert back, then you can get impermanent loss. Now, if it's always going to be a 1-to-1 in both directions, then there'll be no loss. Are you there?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, my microphone was muted and I forgot. Okay. Yeah. I think that that pretty much sums it up. And I think this sums up the whole essence of our discussing bridging Pi network today. I don't know if there's any kind of key things that we may have left out. So please, the audience is feel free to request for the mic to give any questions or contributions to this session. But I just remembered something now. IQ, in your video about bridges, you talked about OTC, over the counter something, and this relates to bridges. Could you tell us how this relates to bridges and more about it?
Yeah, this is another thing that they all seem to have in common. They're not really offering any exchanges or swap services as such. They're all implementing an over-the-counter desk, which is basically where you make an offer, and and then someone else can accept that offer, which is kind of an exchange in a way, I guess. But over the counter traditionally was for high volumes of coins, so that, like in one of the cases I said, if you're trying to swap 1,000 Bitcoin, right? Well, if you go on to an exchange or something like that, you're going to have trouble trading that amount of Bitcoin. and you come into a lot of issues with slippage and stuff like that, because you gobble up all the trades. So this is where over-the-counter comes into play, where you're dealing direct with in a peer-to-peer fashion, and but and also too, I mean, I don't know whether these OTCs are because Pi is going to be having a huge value when we get over to open mainnet, and that this is the only way that they can facilitate the amount of liquidity that's going to be coming across. But it just seems very suspicious to me that they're all doing over-the-counter desk. That seems to be the mechanism that they're all going with, instead of providing liquidity for their token, through like Pancake Swap, obviously with Binance Smart Chain, which would be more traditional way of swapping coins.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I still don't fully get this, and I don't know why I'm having a problem
I
to
don't
really
think I have the
fully.
full answer there. Like I said,
Yeah.
the traditional over-the-counter desk is for high volumes, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the ones that we're seeing now are kind of just providing a swap function,
Okay. Yeah. So hopefully in time. I mean, I personally, I'm speaking about myself personally, because I know that this is not the first time that I have been explained about over-the-counter desk of currency or whatever it is, but I don't know why my brain is quite allergic to grasping it fully. So maybe in time, gradually, I would fully get what this OTC fully means, right?
Yeah,
So
it's not really your fault, because it's we're dealing with technology, we're dealing with finance, and these are all very high concepts. I mean, like the finance world. I mean, I've worked in a couple of banks, but in their technology and data centers, I'm learning all this DeFi and all that as well.
right. Okay, so thanks so much. I guess this would be the end of the spaces, because I don't think I have any more questions. So at this point, I want to call for any contributions from the audience or questions for IQ, so that we can take them before we call the space to an end. Yes, anyone? I hope people are not um, commenting and raising up their hands and not and I'm not seeing them. Tochi, IQ, I don't know if you see anyone on your end. Okay, Pi Observatory, your hand is up.
Yes, it's a quick question. IQ, this is for you, and it's your personal opinion. Why I'm asking is, I just want to hear what you think would happen in the future with Pi. What innovations do you think would come up? What do you see happening in the future, maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, in terms of new innovations that would that can spring up from the network bridging? Thank you.
Yeah, this is good because this is still going through the Pi Bridge ecosystems that we're seeing. You're seeing all these new Web3 technologies come through, which is like things under these headings of like social-fi and sports-fi and game-fi. You've got all these Internet of Things. You've got all the smart technologies, all your smart cities and all that. So you've got to, I keep joking on my Twitter posts, about, forgetting the past of what you currently live in your society. We're going to a high-tech society here, where all these smart cities, they got smart curbs and automated cars. You're not going to be driving the cars yourself. You're going to have drone deliveries and all this. And I'll give you a great example. Amazon's just released that they're doing a smart island, right, in Greece, right? And this is where they're going to be trialing out all these. I think they've got there's something like 22,000 residents on this island, and it's a very touristy island as well. So they have low low times of year where there's not many people there, and high times when there's a lot of tourists. So it's a great ecosystem to play with. But they're going to be trialing all these things of, things that will be coming into the smart cities and all that. So this is where Pi's coming into as well. Like I said, you're going to have a lot more robotics and stuff like that that'll be doing all the jobs that we used to do. And this is why I think Pi is going to be a universal basic income. We're going to have, you're basically going to have a lot more free time to yourself, because you're not necessarily going to be having to work, right? So we're going into a whole new society, and it's all under this umbrella of smart cities and digital twins and, and all this type of thing. And I talk about all these things called like move to earn and play to earn and all that. That's where, we're going to be incentivized to live more healthily. We're not going to be, you're going to be incentivized to, maybe not drink as much coffee and smoke cigarettes and all this sort of thing, because they're not going to force you to do these things, but they will pay you in cryptocurrencies through these, like CFAN said, like, she calls them X to earn, because they're multiple headings. So all these to earn things are to, help you live a better life, right? Now, there's some bad aspects to this, with tracking and all that sort of thing, but essentially this is a great new world that we want to go to, I think, so I'm a full promoter of all these things. So I keep on saying, just, forget where you're living now, right? Because that's not where we're going, right? So in 5-10 years with Pi Network, they're going to be facilitating this with the new currency, so that's where I see Pi.
Awesome. I don't know if that suffices for you, Pi Observatory. Pi Cameroon, I'll get to you. Let me just ask IQ something. So IQ, you talked about the X to earn stuff. So many of them, so many headings of X to earn. Do all these relate to social credits? The talks of social credits. I've seen some talks about social credits.
Yeah, I think we'll see that coming. And I've talked about this in older videos where, I see, just in the Pi app, I see, hierarchies, where, you've got pioneer, contributor, and ambassador. These are all different sort of hierarchies I see. There's also mechanisms there to increase and decrease the mining rates and all that. And it's quite possible those things will be tied into, it's under the umbrella of social credit score, which is not a very nice term. But I think it ties into all these incentive earnings things, So, they're more to incentivize, good behaviors and all that, and who doesn't want to live better anyway, So, I think you're going to see, because I see the mechanisms already there, and it's just going to really evolve. And also too, don't forget, what the background of CFAN and Nicholas is. They have a social, this digital social PhD thing that they've been studying all their lives. This is what they do. So this is where I think Pi is going to be so huge.
Ooh, the shields. Interesting. Right, just can't wait for that time. So, Pi, thanks for that. Thanks for bringing that out. Pi Cameroon, you can unmute.
Yeah, just a how can I say, just an applause to Pi Revolution and IQ for this Twitter space, because it's very, very educative and promising. And also, if a lot of people could see Pi from the technical and fundamental aspect, like most of us out here see it, we will really, really do appreciate this life changing opportunity in our hand that a lot of people can, let's say, maximize out of it if they really understand what the project is heading at and the opportunity that they have at their hand that they can do amazing things with it. So I really thank you all for having me on a Twitter space and giving me a voice to speak and share my own thoughts on these. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks so much also for your contributions. And thanks to all the speakers who have spoken. Prince of Yemen, I saw you requested to speak. You can unmute your mic if you have something to say, Prince of Yemen. Fellows, if you're a prince, maybe you have some billions of dollars worth of investment to put into Pi. So just wait a few seconds and see if no one is requesting to speak. Sorry, I keep hearing the sound. Tochi, are you seeing any requests to speak? IQ, are you seeing any requests to speak?
No, I don't think any. I can't see any hands up.
I can't see any either. Nothing from him.
I really think that the Twitter app itself is having some glitch at this moment. It's just bad timing because I can hear the sounds. I can hear sounds of requests. The sound that usually pops when a request is made, but I'm not seeing a request being made. But then when I minimize the screen of the Twitter space, I see that there are requests to speak. But when I open it, I can't see any requests. And maybe the same thing is happening with all of you. And then so many people have been complaining that the sound, they can't hear, the sound is breaking. But for some people, it's fine. I don't know why. So I'm sorry, guys. Maybe it's just a bad day for Twitter or a bad moment. So because I'm not able to see those who are raising hands to speak, I'm so sorry if you're raising up your hand and we can't see you. And there's nothing we can do. So we just call this space to an end and appreciate IQ for staying up so late, midnight till morning, for coming to talk to us about Pi bridges. And I would encourage everyone to please do subscribe on his YouTube channel, as he makes a lot of really, really fantastic insights, just as you have heard from him on this space. He does that also with video aid on his YouTube channel. So please do follow him and subscribe to his YouTube channel. So, IQ, any last words before we close up this space?
I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. Thanks to Woody again for hosting the space. These are really out there sort of concepts of everything, and sometimes we get a bit technical as well. So I hope you were able to follow along good enough. Like Woody said, just check out my channels. I'm IQ_Metaverse under all my channels and YouTube and all that. And give my videos a view, because I go really into depth in a lot of this stuff, so you'll get a lot of good information there.
Awesome. So thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. We look forward to having a next space on something, I don't know, as the curiosity leads. Pi Observatory, you're waving?
Yeah, I was just waving. I wasn't raising my hand.
Okay, like a bye-bye wave. All right, bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks so much. Go back to the Pi Civil War. Let's go start fighting again. Right?